Hey everyone, let me ask you a quick question. Which country do you think has the most Muslims in the entire world? Take a guess. Is it Saudi Arabia, the birthplace of Islam? Maybe Pakistan, or perhaps Egypt? What about Nigeria? Well, here's the surprising answer. It's none of them. The correct answer is Indonesia. Yes, you heard that right. This beautiful country, made up of thousands of tropical islands in Southeast Asia, is home to approximately 220 million Muslims. That's about 87% of Indonesia's total population. But here's what makes this really fascinating. If you look at a world map, you'll notice that Islam started in Arabia, that S in the Middle East, way back in the 7th century. From there, it spread mainly through North Africa and Southwest Asia. So this raises an obvious question. How did Islam travel all the way across the ocean to these faraway islands? How did Indonesia, sitting thousands of miles away from Arabia, become the country with the world's largest Muslim population? Today, we're going to uncover this amazing historical mystery. Trust me, this story involves adventure, trade, brave travelers, and powerful kingdoms. So stick around. To understand how Islam reached Indonesia, we first need to understand how Islam spread in general. After the Prophet Muhammad passed away in the 7th century, his followers created large empires called caliphates. Think of these as super powerful kingdoms that followed Islamic teachings. These caliphates grew incredibly fast. They conquered huge areas of land, and with their military success, they also spread their religion. But here's the important part. Islam didn't just spread through war. The early Muslim leaders were really smart. They focused on three main things: spreading their religion through teachers and missionaries, developing science and knowledge. This period is called the Islamic Golden Age, and building strong trade. Networks connecting different parts of the world through business. Muslim missionaries, called imams, traveled to new places and taught people about Islam. They spoke to locals in their own languages and explained the religion in ways people could understand. As time went on, not just common people, but also kings, nobles, merchants, and traders started converting to Islam. And here's where our story really begins, because these Muslim traders became the key to bringing Islam to Indonesia. Now, let's talk about these brave Arab traders. Even before Islam existed, Arab merchants had been sailing to India and Southeast Asia. Why? Because these regions had something everyone wanted: spices. The Malabar region in India was like a bridge. It connected Arab traders with the ports of Southeast Asia, including what we now call Indonesia. These islands were incredibly rich in spices like cloves, nutmeg, and pepper, plus exotic fruits and other valuable goods. In ancient times, spices were as valuable as gold. When Islam became established in Arabia, these Arab merchants and traders became something more than just business people. They became carriers of a new religion. Wherever they sailed, they shared their faith. Evidence shows that Arab Muslim traders were entering Indonesian waters as early as the 8th century, that's over 1,200 years ago. Can you imagine those long, dangerous sea voyages on wooden ships? Many of these early sailors came from newly established ports in the Abbasid Caliphate. Like Basra and Deobal, they would make the long journey across the Indian Ocean, following trade winds and stars, to reach the Spice Islands. But here's an important point. Even though Muslim traders visited Indonesia in the 8th century, Islam didn't really start spreading among the local population until the 12th or 13th century, about 400 to 500 years later. Why the delay? Well, at first, these traders were just doing business. They weren't actively trying to convert people. But gradually, things started to change. So when did Indonesia actually start becoming Muslim? This is where history gets a bit fuzzy, but we have some clues. The oldest Muslim gravestone ever found in Indonesia dates back to 1082. That's almost 1,000 years ago. Then we have a famous visitor who gave us more information. You might have heard of Marco Polo, the Italian explorer, when he visited the region in 1292. He wrote in his travel diary that he found a port city called Perlak that was already Muslim. This was in northern Sumatra. The first real evidence of a Muslim kingdom comes from 1297, a gravestone of Sultan Malik al-Soleh, who was the first Muslim ruler of the Samudra Pasai Sultanate. This kingdom was in northern Sumatra, and it became very important for spreading Islam. Chinese historical records also mention that in 1282, a Muslim delegation from the Kingdom of Samudra visited the Chinese emperor. So we know for sure that by the late 1200s, there were organized Muslim kingdoms in Indonesia. But how did Islam actually spread? Here's where it gets really interesting. The missionaries came from many different places. Some came from India, where Islam had already taken root. Others came from the southern Arabian Peninsula, Yemen and Oman. Later, missionaries also came from already converted Indonesian kingdoms. Many of these missionaries were Sufis. These were Muslim mystics who taught Islam in a very peaceful, spiritual way. They didn't force anyone to convert. Instead, they showed people the beauty of Islamic teachings through their own example. Islam followed the trade routes, spreading eastward through the archipelago. It moved from one island to another, one port to another, just like how merchants traveled for business. Here's something fascinating. In Indonesia, Islam spread differently than in other places. In the Middle East and North Africa, there were often wars and conquests, but in Indonesia, Islam mostly spread peacefully through trade, marriage, and royal conversions. Let me explain how this worked. Muslim traders would come to Indonesian ports. They were often wealthy and successful. Local people saw that these Muslim merchants were honest, fair in business, and followed good moral values. Some of these wealthy traders would marry local women. The really successful ones would even marry into royal families, the families of kings and sultans. When a local king or ruler converted to Islam, something powerful happened. all his subjects would follow his example. This is similar to how Christianity spread in Europe. When a king became Christian, the whole kingdom often followed. One of the most important conversions happened in Malacca when a ruler named Paramaswara converted to Islam and took the name Muhammad Iskandar Shah. The Sultanate of Malacca became super powerful and helped spread Islam throughout the region. By the 15th century, Islamic kingdoms were dominating the region. They had strong military power, control of important sea routes, better trading connections, and superior knowledge of maritime navigation. The Islamic kingdoms also received support from Ming China. Chinese Admiral Zhang, he led massive voyages that established Muslim Chinese communities along the coasts of Indonesia. This created even more support for Islam in the region. Before Islam arrived, what religions did Indonesians follow? Most people were animists, who believed spirits lived in nature. Hindus, especially in Java, and Buddhists, who were also very common. There were great Hindu-Buddhist kingdoms, like the famous Majapahit Empire in Java. But by the 14th and 15th centuries, this empire was declining, and Muslim kingdoms were rising. By the end of the 16th century, Islam had become the dominant religion in Java and Sumatra, the two most important islands. But here's what makes Indonesian Islam special and unique. Islam didn't completely wipe out the old cultures. Instead, it incorporated many local customs and traditions. Indonesian Muslims kept many cultural practices from their Hindu-Buddhist past. This mixing of different traditions is called syncretism. Why was this possible? Largely because of Sufism, the mystical, peaceful form of Islam that emphasized spirituality over strict rules. Sufi teachers were tolerant and understanding of local cultures. So Indonesian Islam developed its own unique flavor, different from Arab Islam or Turkish Islam or Persian Islam. When Europeans arrived later and brought Christianity, not many Indonesians converted. Why? Because by then, Islam was already deeply rooted in their culture and identity. So there you have it, the amazing story of how Indonesia became home to the world's largest Muslim population. Let us recap the key points. Islam reached Indonesia through Arab and Indian traders starting around the 8th century. It really began spreading in the 12th, 13th centuries through missionaries and merchants. Royal conversions and intermarriage helped it spread peacefully. By the 16th century, Islam was dominant in Java and Sumatra, and Indonesian Islam is unique because it blended with local cultures. Today, Indonesia has over 250 million people from different cultures and ethnicities spread across thousands of islands. More than 80% are Muslim, but Indonesia is not a traditional Islamic state. Their constitution is based on Pancasila 5 philosophical principles that include values from Islam, but also from other religions and universal human values. This makes Indonesia an example of how a Muslim-majority country can be diverse, tolerant, and respectful of different beliefs. Pretty amazing, right? I hope you learned something new today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our history videos. What should we explore next? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.